Hello and welcome to Geo Brief by Shom. In this episode, we'll talk about the US government shutdown. The American government has officially gone into a shutdown. What does this mean? Why has it happened? How long will it last? What will be its impact? Let us break everything down and understand in simple language. On 1st October 2025, the US government went into a shutdown. Why? Because the country's parliament could not reach an agreement on how to spend the funds. Every year before 1st October, the American parliament has to pass some important funding bills. If these bills are passed in the US Congress and the American president signs them, then everything is fine. The government functions normally. Day-to-day operations are not disrupted because the funding bills have been passed, which means that the country's parliament has reached an agreement on how to spend the funds. So, funds are smoothly available to pay government employees and to keep government agencies running in their daily functioning. That way, government operations are not hindered. But suppose, for some reason, the US Congress fails to pass the funding bills before the 1st October deadline, then the government goes into a shutdown. This is what has happened now. The funding bills were not passed. There were some differences between Republicans and Democrats, due to which the funding bills could not be passed in the US Congress before the deadline. Since funding was not approved, it means the government does not have funds for its normal functioning. And without funds, the non-essential government operations have to be stopped. This is what is called a shutdown.
Now, since the American government does not have funds, how will the salaries of government employees be paid? In such a situation, many government employees will have to be sent on temporary leave. This is called furlough, leave without pay. So, many US government employees will be sent on furlough. Obviously, not all government employees can be sent on leave at the same time. Otherwise, how will the work continue? Essential services cannot be stopped. National security, border protection, government health services, air traffic control, and so on will have to remain operational. Therefore, the government employees working in these essential services will not be removed. Essential services will continue. However, since the government currently does not have funds, the government employees working in essential services will have to work without pay for the time being. And when the government shutdown ends, only then will they receive their full payment. But until the shutdown continues, whether for a few days, a few weeks, or even a few months, the employees working in essential services will have to work without paychecks. Meanwhile, the employees working in non-essential services will be sent on furlough. This will create problems in government-funded programs such as food assistance, food safety inspections, immigration services, and student loans. The staff of national parks and famous landmarks will also be sent on leave. Non-essential services will face disruption. All in all, the government will not remain fully functional. It will operate only partially. Only essential services will continue as before.
Is the American government going into a shutdown for the first time? No. This has happened many times before. From 1980 up to the current 2025 shutdown, the US government has gone into shutdown 15 times. Earlier, during Trump's first term, the US government had gone into shutdown between late 2018 and early 2019. In fact, during Trump's first term, there were 3 shutdowns. And now, in Trump's second term, the government has once again gone into a shutdown. Government funding has been paused. This reflects the disagreements in the US Congress over spending. In the upper house of the US Congress, which is called the Senate, 60 votes were required to extend government funding, but only 55 were secured. In other words, the Senate blocked the funding bill. The Democrats did not support the bill. The result? Government shutdown. Interestingly, shutdowns over the budget are a unique feature of American politics. In most countries, including India, if the budget is not passed in the parliament, it is considered a vote of no confidence and the government falls. But in America, that is not the case. If the budget is not passed due to disagreements, the government does not fall. Instead, it goes into a shutdown.
So, what were the disagreements between Republicans and Democrats? Why did the funding bill fail to pass in the Senate, leading to the government shutdown? The Democrats argued that this funding bill would make healthcare even more expensive, which would make it difficult for American citizens to afford healthcare. The Democrats wanted the tax credits, which were about to expire, to be extended. With tax credits or subsidies, American citizens have to pay less for their health insurance. So this was one of the Democrats' demands. Secondly, the Democrats wanted the cuts made by the Trump administration in Medicaid to be reversed. Medicaid is the government program through which nearly 20% of America's low-income families are able to access health care. Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill will cut $1 trillion from Medicaid over the next decade. The Democrats do not agree with this. Additionally, Trump's Big Beautiful Bill includes provisions such as giving tax breaks to the rich, increasing defense spending, and cutting spending for government health agencies. On the other hand, Democrats are against cutting healthcare subsidies. In the funding bill, there was no compromise between Republicans and Democrats regarding healthcare protections. Because of these disagreements and the resulting standoff, the government went into a shutdown.
This time, the US government shutdown is proving to be more disruptive compared to the past. Because Trump has said that in this shutdown, employees will not only be sent on furlough, but many will also be permanently laid off. Normally, after a temporary layoff, workers are rehired once the shutdown ends. But this time, Trump is in the mood to permanently fire many employees. This has created an atmosphere of uncertainty. In recent months, the Trump administration has already been cutting down the workforce and restructuring agencies according to its own plans. Now, during the shutdown, even more massive cuts to the workforce may be made. Further, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will be shut down, which means the September jobs report will be delayed. This is important data that the US economy needs to function properly, and its delay will cause problems. Without this data, the Federal Reserve will face difficulty in adjusting interest rates. Trump is not in the mood to compromise at all. He wants the Democrats to surrender this time as well, just like they did during the previous budget standoff. But the Democrats are under tremendous pressure. Their supporters do not want them to bow down to the Republicans this time. So if both sides remain rigid, the shutdown will drag on. Nobody knows when this shutdown will end. The longest shutdown so far was the one in 2018-19 during Trump's first term. It lasted for 35 days. We'll have to see how many days this current shutdown continues. The longer the shutdown goes on, the more it will hurt America's economy. Financial markets will be disrupted, and people's trust in the government will decline. At present, America is witnessing intense political drama. One thing is certain, with the government shutting down in this manner, both America and the American president's image are being damaged.